Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a range test with the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee 4XE. We're going to see how far we can drive on all-electric range, and basically we're just going to see if Jeep's rating of 25 miles of full electric driving range is correct or not. And with that being said, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into the video. Okay, so a couple of things. First off, I'm not starting from 100% charge. You guys can see I'm at 80% with 22 miles of range is what this claims for me to have, which if we extrapolate that out, that actually would claim that we would have 27.5 miles of range at 100% charge, which is above what Jeep rates this at. So far so good. But really what we need to do is just take a picture of the odometer, 2467. And so if this 22 miles of range is actually accurate, then we should basically run out of electricity in 22 miles. And so, yeah, there you go. And let's start our test. Also, a couple more things I mentioned before we start the test. It's 80 degrees outside. I am not going to be turning everything off. So you guys can see I've got my air conditioned seat on. I also have the air conditioning on as well. And when I'm going to start driving, I'm going to go from e-save mode over to electric mode. So it's going to do the full electric driving. If you guys don't know, e-save basically will charge the battery. Electric will do electric driving, and hybrid will just do normal hybrid driving. And so, yeah. And also, here's the tire pressure, if you guys are wondering. Okay, just to show you guys the initial testing here, again, we're in the electric mode. I do have the regeneration on, so that should help out with range a bit. One thing that I quickly tested, though, is to see like when it turns the engine on. And if you go like all the way down into the pedal, you can actually hear it kind of like turning the engine on a bit. So you want to make sure that you're not going foot down when you're in this mode, so that obviously you don't turn the engine and then use gas, because, you know, obviously trying not to use gas with this. But come on, go. There we go. It's like we're trying to hyper mile here, but super smooth. And this actually feels like a decent amount of power, at least at these lower speeds so far. I've already lost 1 mile of range, and I have not gone 1 mile though. So yeah, a little bit concerned with that. But again, I did do a couple like flat down accelerations with the pedal, just to kind of see how, you know, hard I can press into the pedal without turning the engine on, because I want this test to be as accurate as possible, right? But other things, super quiet. And also, you know what? We're gonna use a couple more electrons. I'm gonna get a massage. Again, I don't want this test to be a, oh, I turned off the air conditioning and, you know, turn off all the features, had the screen off, all the electronics off to give the most around range, because I don't feel like that's what a regular person's gonna do when they drive this. I feel like a regular person's gonna have the radio on, they're gonna have their, you know, heated or cooled seat on, they're gonna have the massaging seat function on, they're gonna use all the electronics that they wanna use, you know, on their daily commute. If you paid for it, right, you're gonna wanna use it. But, yeah, so far it's doing pretty good from an acceleration perspective. But the only downside I'm seeing to this is it seems like the range is going down pretty quick. Now again, just partial throttle here. You can't go all, like I said, you can't go all the way down to the pedal, or it's going to turn the engine on. Let's see if I can pull up yeah, this will actually be good, because this will show us if the engine pops on. Because if that goes anywhere, if that basically goes anywhere below 99, that means that we're using gas. So notice how it just says 99 the whole time, because we're just doing electric power. And so just to show you guys on camera here, I'm gonna create a little bit of space. I'll put my foot all the way down. So notice how it starts going down, because the engine pops on. And now it's gonna take a second for the engine to, there you go, the engine just turned back off. So yeah, I guess like an easy way for you to tell if you're using the engine or not is just have the fuel economy meter up with your Grand Cherokee 4XE, and that'll show you. We've lost 2 miles of range, and we've done like not 2 miles yet. So yeah, but again, those two accelerations, I'll be like more normal with the driving now. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that for you guys. But yeah, I mean, with around town driving, this is more than enough power. And yeah, I don't feel like someone would have any complaints about this. I think that, you know, someone just driving around this would absolutely love it. Just going to the grocery store, you know, maybe doing your work commute if you don't work too far from home, on all electric power, charging it at home. It's at least possible from like a acceleration perspective. It's not quick, but it's torquey enough that it feels good. Like, I feel like I can keep up with the flow of traffic perfectly fine. I'll be back to you guys in a moment once I get onto the interstate though. So I'm getting onto the interstate here, getting in full electric mode. See if I can, yeah, look at that. Not only keep up with the flow of traffic, but I beat that pesky Hyundai, and I'm not in the turbos at all, just electric power. And you know, if you're not trying to be a race car driver, this is enough acceleration to like just merge onto the highway in normal fashion. Again, if you're not trying to burn rubber or anything, like that person, you guys can see they're driving normal and I'm way past them now. So going to aerodynamic ride height, I did use quite a bit of range though to get up to speed, that's for sure. Now, something that I am very intrigued to see, and I bet that you guys will appreciate this, is can we use the self-driving? Nope. Just turn the engine on. Okay. So we're back to engine off. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. Okay, adaptive cruise control ready. Okay, engine's off. Okay, set. Okay. Steering assistance. Okay, we're gonna pay close attention to that, make sure the engine doesn't pop on. If it pops on, then I'm gonna cancel, because again, we wanna get real range. But look at that. That must have been a fluke that it turned the engine on initially, because now it's doing fine. Wow, this is pretty cool. So you have full electric driving. Now obviously I'm not in the fast lane. You know, being at 4,500 feet elevation here in Utah, I don't think, and you know, the elevation doesn't affect electric cars like it does with you know, internal combustion engine cars, but still we have a lot of, you know, hills and elevation changes and everything throughout, and so I don't know if this could handle it. Like, let's see how it does with this hill here. So cool to have this steer itself. It's a really good system, by the way. A lot of people are asking me if it changes lanes for you. It doesn't. You have to just do it yourself. Like, I'll wait for this Hyundai to pass me on the right side, and then I'll show you guys, like, I'll turn the turn signal on, and then you guys will see. Can you go faster, Hyundai? So we can do our video stuff here. But on the highway, man, does it eat through. Okay, so look, turn signal. It just grays out the lines. It doesn't actually do the turning for you. So it just basically makes it so it won't do any steering. Then once I'm back in the lines, turns green again. But yeah, I mean, we are just absolutely plowing through the electric range. I'm not gonna make you guys wait through this whole thing, so I will get back to you once I get close to, like, I don't know, like 5 or 10% when it's about to go, so that it's not a super long clip, and well, we'll get the final results. Okay, so I've got some bad news for our test. It decided that it doesn't want to do the electric mode anymore, like randomly. Like, I keep trying to put it into electric mode and it won't let me fully drain the battery. But what I can tell you is we made it to 2482 with the odometer, which means that we went, okay, 10, oh my goodness, went 15 miles. 15 miles, okay? So we're supposed to be able to get 22 miles, went 15 miles. Now again, that was partially city, partially highway, and it's still draining the battery, even in the hybrid mode, even though we're using gas at this point. And so here's what I have to say. Highway driving, you're not gonna be able to get it. I just proved that, right? We got significantly less. I mean, if we basically do the math, if what 15 miles, 80% with the driving that I just did, what that puts us at less than 20 miles of range total, like 17 and a half or whatever. Sorry if my math's off. My brain's completely messed up today. But the point that I'm trying to make is, yeah, with highway driving, you won't be able to do it. But that being said, if you were to do just around town driving, and I'm actually gonna be popping it into the e-save mode now so that I have some charge for off-roading because I'm going to my off-road review. Around town, I think you could get the range. I noticed that it was pretty accurate when I was driving around town in terms of, you know, how much range I was using and all that. But as soon as you got on the highway, it just started tanking. I was kind of expected. So if you're gonna get this and you're expecting to not use any gas, then understand your commute pretty much has to be like sub 40 miles an hour. If your commute is on a regular basis over 40 miles an hour, yeah, you're probably not gonna have nearly as much range as you think, and you're gonna be using some gas. But yeah, just for around town stuff and everything, you can get that 25 miles range, even potentially a little bit more, it looked like in certain circumstances. But yeah, once you throw the highway driving in, it kind of throws the whole thing off. And it's kind of annoying that we can't go to 0, because I just had that Volvo XC90 recharge extended range the other week, which, I mean, this kind of competes against that, right? Because that Volvo was like $82,000, this is $75,000, so they're both plug-in hybrids at about the same price point. And yeah, that Volvo let me deplete the battery all the way to 0, and on top of that, with highway driving, I was able to get, you know, roughly what Volvo said for the range. So I'm not trying to just knock on Jeep. Like, I think this is a great system, and you can get this at a relatively inexpensive price point with the Grand Cherokee. Relatively, right? I gotta emphasize relatively, because it's still more expensive than a traditional Grand Cherokee. But I still think it's cool. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is, you know, actual cost. Like, is this actually going to save you money? And I don't think so, because here's the deal. The price point that you have to pay to get this powertrain is a lot more than the 5.7 Hemi or the 3.6 liter V6. Now, the 5.7 Hemi gets a lot worse fuel economy than this. The 3.6 liter V6 gets slightly worse fuel economy, but it's not that much worse. And so if you really want to save money, get the V6 in the Grand Cherokee, because you're gonna be able to get that in a Jeep that is in the $40,000 price range if you want, or if you want to get a more nicely appointed one, then $50,000 price range, right? Whereas this, you have to spend like $60,000, and that, you know, $10,000 to $15,000 price gap between this and a V6, you're not going to make that up with the slightly better fuel economy that you get. Now, yes, there could be the argument made that, oh, well, I will just plug it in my house and only drive around town, and I will only use the electric range. Fair enough. You know, you would eventually be able to recoup the cost with that. It'd still take quite a bit of time. I mean, you're talking, I mean, let's see. If you didn't use any gas whatsoever, you only used electric range, then you're probably 30, with today's gas prices, 30 to 40,000 miles, I think then you'd break even, roughly. Sorry if my math's off a little bit, again. But about 30 to 40,000 miles, then you'd break even. So, and again, that's just breaking even. Then after that, you'd technically be in the profit with a vehicle that, you know, when you want to have fast accelerations, it has that. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the 4xE with the range test. It didn't do as well as I thought it would do, but it'll do it around town. It's just the highway driving kills the range. But if you're thinking about buying this over other powertrains, again, if you just want power, 5.7 Hemi is going to be more cost effective. Yes, the fuel economy is not going to be as good, but if you're going to be getting into the throttle all the time, then yeah, just 5.7 Hemi. V6 if you want to be the most cost effective, unless you're going to be charging this at your house and you have like solar panels or something like that, where, you know, you're not spending more money in electricity. But still, I mean, if you're spending money in electricity, it'd be cheaper than filling up with gas right now. So yeah, if you're going to be charging up at home every single night and using only electric range around town, then after about 30, 40,000 miles, somewhere in that range, to, you know, gas prices fluctuate all the time, then you'd be breaking even, and then after that, you'd technically be in the green. And so it's not exactly super cost effective yet to get the 4xE. I think it will be more so in the future. I still like the idea of this a lot. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you.